Senator Lummis.
Thanks, Madam Chairman, for beginning the dialogue between the Department of Transportation and this Committee on Surface Transportation now. We've got a lot of big challenges, and Mr. Secretary, honestly, I got to say, since hours after you were sworn in, you've been drinking out of a fire hose. You have had crisis after crisis, challenge after challenge, and you have handled it magnificently, and I want to thank you for the way that you're continuing to work through these projects while you continue to communicate with the American people. I want to thank you specifically for looking at the Rock Springs, Wyoming Airport grants. Like everyone else, we're all hopeful that some of these grants that were signed, sealed, and not quite delivered are moving forward, so bless you for that. Couple subjects with regard to surface transportation. EV mandates just really don't work for Wyoming because of our climate, because of our cold weather. Electric vehicles just don't go as far as they can elsewhere. And because of that, there aren't very many. When there are electric vehicles, they're just not contributing to maintaining our roads and bridges because you have to be using a liquid fuel that pays a gas or diesel tax in order to maintain our roads. So we're all going to have to work together to find out a way that electric vehicles can help contribute to the maintenance of our nation's roads and bridges. But I have one little sliver of it that I want to talk to you about. The EV mandates and the NEVI charger program and its related discretionary program budgeted $7.5 billion with really disappointing results, and it's leading to the suspension in February that occurred so it could be evaluated. So I want to look at that program and ask you to look at it with me. Because the NEVI program just buckled under piles of regulation and rigid technical requirements, private capital was left on the sideline to address the EV charging issue. And so Wyoming and other states have millions of dollars sitting idle in accounts for chargers that they just can't build. And that's money that's not creating this joyful, happy America where we have great highways and great bridges. So I introduced this bill called the Highway Funding Flexibility Act that would authorize states to redirect unused EV charger funds to roads and bridges. And then highway safety priorities like truck parking and wildlife crossings could also be eligible. It would empower states like Wyoming to devote money to real highway needs with potentially billions nationwide for addressing infrastructure priorities. So I'd like your help exploring this and maybe other ways to make sure that money that has been appropriated could be put to use on big durable projects that connect our country, some of the projects that my colleagues have raised. So how do you recommend we go about having a dialogue about things like that?
So first, Senator, I live in a place in Wisconsin that's cold and rural as well, and the EVs do not work that well in my part of the country also. But just in regard to the NEVI program, just to be clear, the guidance, I think, from the last administration wasn't working. I believe there's been, over 3 years, 66 chargers built with the $5 billion out of the $7.5 billion that was directed toward the EV chargers, and again, very burdensome regulation. And so we're redoing the guidance. Listen, you can have a debate about whether we should have charging stations or not. You guys all passed a bill with charging stations, but I think if you pass a bill saying we should build out American infrastructure with charging stations, we should build charging stations. We shouldn't pay people to not have charging stations. We have 66 of them. And so I look at the guidance, I'm going to make the guidance work. Whether I agree with it or not, you told me to do it, and so let's do it well. But there's still money there, and that's a role for the Congress to say, hey, do we want to take this money and use it for something else? that'll be your all's decision as you go forward this next year. But I'm going to do what you've directed, and 66 is a shameful number.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to the senator from Ohio's point. There's way too many rules and regulations.
Yeah.
And then people can't comply, and then you don't get the build. So I would be happy to work with you, though, on kind of what we're thinking, and happy to work with you on what you're thinking. But I do also believe that EVs should pay part of the cost of roads and bridges that they use. And how you do that is a question that we'll have to grapple with.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. If we get a second round, I'll ask you about truck parking. There again, there's a Department of Labor rule that says you can only drive a certain number of hours and then you absolutely have to stop. And there's no place for them to park. And so that's an issue for another round. Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Senator. It's a safety issue. We have to address it.
Thank you.